Round 2 of the Avon Tars Junior Formula Ford Championship is here at Donington, and just as at Snetterton in round 1, Ben Clucas is on pole.
It's quite difficult. I mean, I only came like middle of the session. I was trying pretty hard, to be perfectly honest. I'm not overly happy with how far I'm in front of Darwin, because he's quite close, but we just got to see in the race. I think it'll certainly be an interesting race with him very close to me all the way, and just who can overtake the best, really.
Opposition is going to come from Darwin Smith and also from Philip Glue. He lines up third on the grid.
I think I could have been further up, probably on pole, if I didn't have so many problems with the brakes. I was struggling a bit with brakes, but you know, I'm fairly confident we've got the car sorted now for the race.
12 laps then here at Donington on the 1.96 mile national circuit, and there the Red Miguel on pole position in the hands of Ben Clucas. Darwin Smith to line up second on the grid, the man that won the opening round of the championship at Snetterton. Philip Glue lines up third, Matthew Allison fourth, although he missed most of qualifying after a wheel bearing failed on the car. Fifth, Jay Howard. Sixth, Julian Yap ahead of Daniel Clark, Wesley Godwin, Antonio Perez and James Walker rounding out the top 10. There is Philip Glue lining up third, and behind him in the background, Matthew Allison. Very few laps that Allison did in qualifying, but it didn't really matter too much. He's still fourth on the grid, and Formula Ford round here is always dramatic. So the red lights go on, the engine notes rise. Formula Ford at Donington is go. Let's see who makes the best start. Darwin Smith catapults away from the outside of the front row, and a pretty sluggish start there by Ben Clucas. Philip Glue is alongside him as they go diving down towards Redgate Corner for the first time. Darwin Smith it is, just leading then as they round Redgate. Who's second? It's Glue. Third is Clucas. Fourth is Matthew Allison. Fifth looks like being Julian Yap as they make their way downhill for the first time. And Darwin Smith, what a great start. Remember, on a staggered grid, he was at least one car's length behind Ben Clucas, and he leads by about 2 lengths already as they come down to the second corner. Out of the old hairpin then for the first time. The cars now make the run up towards Schwartz Curve. 1 or 2 run wide in the background. A spin there that looks like one of the Team MDR cars that's gone off, one of the Van Diemen's. They all survive. Somebody else about to take to the grass on the inside of Schwartz Curve, I noticed, but in the meantime, Darwin Smith is getting away up front. Somebody else goes rally crossing there. Wow! All action on the opening lap here at Donington. Darwin Smith, then Philip Glue, then Ben Clucas, then a gap. Fourth is Jay Howard, fifth is Matt Allison, sixth is Julian Yap, and seventh is everybody else as they come pouring through for the first time. Number 11 there, you saw Antonio Perez making his way by, but the race leaders now make their way down towards the chicane to complete lap 1, and it's Darwin Smith in the lead of the race at the moment. In second is Philip Glue, and Ben Clucas now needing to make amends for a fairly poor start. 1 or 2 more heroic efforts coming into the chicane, a few run wide, scrabbling for grip as they make their way through the corner. 32 there, Wesley Godwin just fending off Antonio Perez, the Mexican driver. Meantime, Ben Clucas goes diving up on the inside, saying to take second place away, and he does so from Philip Glue. Right, Ben Clucas, who had an engine seize on him at Snetterton and therefore didn't finish the race, desperately needs points here at Donington. He's going the right way about it now. He's up into second place, and his next target is the race leader, Darwin Smith. Smith leading them as they come downhill. The Miguel in second place in the hands of Ben Clucas. And look at this great battle. Virtually the other half of the field all running as one long train of cars, pouring their way now out of the old hairpin. Darwin Smith, the race leader, through he comes in number 4. The Mackie Motorsport Run Miguel in the lead of the race at the moment. There is number 20, Jay Howard, going through. And Howard driving for AMG Motorsport with his Van Diemen wants to find a way past Matt Allison. He can't do it at the moment. Julian Yap is next. His Miguel run by Peter Chambers' team. And then the rest of the field come pouring through. Number 11 there, we've seen him already. Antonio Perez still looking for a way to find a way ahead of Wesley Godwin. Down they come into the chicane, and Ben Clucas this time is right on the tail there of the race leader Darwin Smith. He's benefited from a huge tow being granted to him as he came out of coppice, being sucked along by Darwin Smith's car, making a hole in the air. Number 16 there, John Lansley, goes through. He's involved in a battle, you can see, trying to attack and defend at the same time. Over the line they go now, down towards Redgate Corner once again. All the cars in the Junior Formula Ford Championship have to be at least 1 year old. Number 5 there, gaining a place, Tim Heapy. Local man, comes from Derbyshire, local to Donington Park. Went very well last year in the BRDC single-seater championship, graduating then to the Avon Junior Formula Ford Championship this year and going well, making a place up there. Now the race leaders, nose to tail, are making their way up towards us. And Ben Clucas, as we say, needs the points. Darwin Smith, winner in the opening round of the championship, leads the race at the moment. There is Ben Clucas, tucked up behind him in second place. The pair of them now are about to swing their way round Coppice, double apex right-hander. Very difficult corner to get absolutely right. They're in third place, Philip Glue. Fourth is Matthew Allison behind him. Fifth is Jay Howard. And those 3 cars running together. But what they really need to do is work together and try and tow themselves up onto the back of the leading duo. Number 17, Eddie James there, another local man. He's from Derby, trying to find a way past his teammate, Gilberto Jimenez, as they come now up towards Coppice. The leaders are at the chicane, though. Ben Clucas just drifting the car out of the chicane a little bit. Up across the line they come. Race leader is still Darwin Smith. And look at this great gaggle of cars pouring through the chicane. Stephen Jelly, another graduate of the BRDC Single-Seater Championship last year, comes across the line. Stephen Jelly in the Medina Sport round Van Diemen. Now the top two now plunge downhill once again. Through Hollywood, down towards the old hairpin. Not really a hairpin at all these days. A very fast corner indeed. There for third place, Philip Glue. Fourth, Matthew Allison in the Mick Gardner Racing run Miguel. And then tucked up behind him, Jay Howard. Allison's car from 2000 rather than 2001, which many of the cars around him are from. Now Jay Howard there in the black Van Diemen wants to find a way past the white and yellow Miguel. Clips the curb though, coming into McLean's corner. Now the run uphill, heading towards the double apex right-hander of Coppice. Turn in, get the line, turn into the second part. Use all of the road up against the blue and white curbing on the outside. Now Ben Clucas is ideally placed this time for a run up the inside of Darwin Smith. But before he thinks about it, Smith covers the line. Darwin Smith very good at defending here, and Ben Clucas rather outfoxed there. Darwin Smith makes sure that Ben Clucas can't find a way by. Out of the chicane they come. Darwin Smith really having to work very hard indeed now to fend off Ben Clucas. Look at this, wheel to wheel and locking up coming into the chicane. That was Wesley Godwin trying to find a way up a place, and he couldn't do it. Smith leads in the meantime into Redgate. Somebody goes wide out of the chicane in the background. You can see all the dust being kicked up there. Leaders through them. The great thing about Formula Ford is that because these cars don't run with a rear wing, they are much easier to overtake in, and great racing has been a feature of Formula Ford for over 30 years now. Down they come. Leading the race at the moment, Darwin Smith, the man from Ballymena. There, Ben Clucas behind him. The Reading driver second, but over the curb, kicking up the dirt as they come now through Schrunt's curve. Up towards McLean's, the top two absolutely tied together. They are well clear now of Philip Glue in third position. Somebody clattering over the curbs there. Looks like one of the MDR cars. Stephen Jelly makes up a place. Yes, he does in number 3. Possibly that was Eddie James who ran wide. But there are the race leaders, and Ben Clucas could barely be any closer this time. Look at this. Tucked under the gearbox then of the race leader Darwin Smith's car as he comes down towards the chicane. The white car is that of Smith's, the red one is that of Clucas, but look at the way Darwin Smith defends, moves across there to the inside. He's not weaving around and blocking, just being very, very defensive indeed. Into the chicane, Smith from Clucas, first and second, 12 laps this race. Ben Clucas still has time enough left in which to find a way by, but Darwin Smith is doing a great job of defending. I just wonder whether the gap may not be coming down between second and third. Ben Clucas diving up on the inside, can he go through? Yes, he can. Great move. Darwin Smith loses the lead to Ben Clucas. Ben Clucas goes by them, up into the lead. Down they come, approaching the old hairpin, but just look at the way that Darwin Smith is going. He wants that lead back. He's already trying to respond through Hollywood. Ben Clucas under real pressure now, trying to stay flat out as best he can, coming down the hill. Darwin Smith applying the pressure. Now, he's lost the lead, but he's not lost much time. Can he find a way back through? Yes, he can. I think he's having a look on the inside at Schwartz curve. The inside for the left-hander, the outside for the right-hander of McLean's, but he's already gone by. Darwin Smith back into the lead even before they get to McLean's. Very good bit of driving there. Lost the lead, half a lap later, he's back in front. Darwin Smith then, with his never-say-die attitude, he's back up front, but whilst they've been tripping over themselves for a couple of corners, Glue, Allison and Howard are getting a bit closer. Third, fourth, fifth, there they are. They make their way under the Dunlop Bridge, coming down towards the chicane. The top two still battling amongst themselves, Darwin Smith and Ben Clucas. And the danger of this is that whilst they defend, whilst they attack like this, they are taking the slower lines, and that is enabling third, fourth and fifth, Glue, Allison and the black car of Jay Howard to catch up to them. Before much longer, I reckon we're going to have more than just two cars battling for the lead. A rather lonely sixth in the background, look, is Julian Yap as they come across the line. And there Jay Howard goes diving up on the inside, and he takes fourth place away from Matt Allison. A great move. Jay Howard then dives through, takes fourth place. Now that also takes some of the pressure briefly off Philip Glue, but Jay Howard now trying to catch up to him as Ben Clucas looks for a way back past Darwin Smith. Tries to find a way by, coming into the old hairpin, but he can't do it. Still, Smith leads, and that very wide Miguel managing to fend off the similar car in the hands of Ben Clucas. Up they go now, through Schwant's curve, approaching McLean's corner. Swinging their way through that right-hander, but look at the way that Philip Glue is just inching up to their tail further back. Number 3, Stephen Jelly goes through. Then number 1, James Taylor, younger brother of Formula 3 racer Mark Taylor, and one of the sons of Mike Fulmar Taylor, former Formula Ford 2000 and Sports 2000 racer. Those two cars nose to tail. Jelly just fending off Taylor, both of them being caught. Leaders, though, now making their way down towards the chicane, and once again Darwin Smith gets the best line coming into the corner, preventing Ben Clucas from finding a way by. They're in third place. It's Philip Glue. Fourth, a little bit ragged. This time is Jay Howard. And a great scrum of cars here. Four of them diving down into the chicane. Wesley Godwin ahead of Pereth. Then Matt Howson and James Walker are side by side. And then for the lead, they're side by side at Redgate as well. Just hanging on to the lead, though, is Darwin Smith. And tucked up behind him again is Ben Clucas. Then Stephen Jelly. Number one, James Taylor, was alongside him, but he couldn't quite find a way by as they came into the chicane. But great racing up and down the field. This is the beauty of Formula Ford. 1800cc Ford Zetec engines powering these cars. You've got scope to have different engine tuners. There's scope, of course, for a different chassis. Miguel versus Van Diemen in the entry list. And the top two, both driving Miguel's, turn their way now out of the right-hander of McLean's and make their way up towards Coppice. Ben Clucas trying very hard again there, just touching the curb as he now turns into the next right-hander. And look how much closer Glue has got. Granted, he's got away by 3 or 4 lengths from the Howard-Allison battle for 4th place. But Philip Glue now was complaining of brake problems in qualifying. If he's got over those, might well be able to make even more progress. It's pretty much 3 for the lead this time as they come into the chicane. Down they come, right, then left. There is Jay Howard, 4th. Matthew Allison up behind him in 5th and wanting that place back, of course. Over the line, Julian Yap still 6th, still lonely, still on the grass, ran wide over the curve there. Look in the background, the dust that he's created is still settling as Howard and Allison are side by side at Redgate. Almost touching wheels. Matt Allison has to back out of that manoeuvre. That gives Jay Howard a couple of lengths breathing space. Another good battle here. 25, Jeremy List locks up, dives through on the inside, runs out of road completely and back through to retake his place. Number 9, Gilberto Jimenez. And that is an archetypal way of losing a place at the chicane. You brake so late, you understeer yourself wide, having missed your braking point. It happened there to Jeremy List. Darwin Smith leads. 2nd is Ben Clucas. And the way that Ben has been going makes me think that he's going to challenge at the chicane this time, possibly. He's had a look there in the past. If he can get a good run here and make his move early enough coming out of Coppice to prevent Darwin Smith defending, he could be on. And by now, he should have learnt the lessons to have a go this time. There is James Walker going through with his Van Diemen. Here are the leaders. Down they come, into the chicane. Darwin Smith, though, covers the line. Ben Clucas tries the outside line, but it ain't going to work. Smith, then Clucas, absolutely tied together. Fantastic scrap between these two. 3rd is Glue, 4th is Jay Howard, and a little bit further back now, 5th, having had to back out of that manoeuvre at Redgate, is Matthew Allison. For the first time in the race, gaps opening up between 3rd, 4th and 5th cars. But for the top two, side by side again at Redgate. Clucas looked on the outside and he can't do it. Darwin Smith hangs on to the advantage. Downhill they go. Tremendous race between these two. Remember, Ben Clucas was 3rd at this part of the circuit on lap 1. He has briefly led, but Darwin Smith has stamped his authority on this race. Smith won at Snetterton in round 1 of the championship. He's leading here at Donington in round 2 of the championship, and he has got Ben Clucas right up behind him. Darwin Smith can be forgiven for thinking his mirrors have been painted red, so close is Clucas' car. It has been there pretty much race long. James Walker turning his way there out of the old hairpin, still trying to find a place at the expense of Matt Howson. But here now comes the fight for the lead. They're going to have one more lap to go at the end of this, and leading the race is Darwin Smith. In 2nd place is Ben Clucas. Now, what Clucas doesn't want to do, in fairness to him, is make his move too early and then enable Darwin Smith to tear himself back past on the last lap of the race. But Clucas now is looking a little bit more urgent in his efforts coming into the chicane. No longer is he having a look and trying to apply pressure. Now he needs to get past. Through they come then, now onto the last lap of the race, diving down towards Redgate Corner. They're about to turn their way through Redgate. They do so now onto the top of the Crater Curve. Still 3rd is Philip Glue. 4th is Jay Howard, and Howard, having got ahead of Matt Allison, is catching back up onto the tail of Philip Glue. I don't think he's going to have time enough in which to get past, but it's been a very good drive this by Jay Howard, and Ben Clucas hasn't given up yet either. Look, Darwin Smith, a great drive this so far, defending that advantage. Ben Clucas right in his wheel tracks now. They make their way through Schwanzkirch. They could barely be closer. Is it going to be Smith or is it going to be Clucas that wins this race? The smart money, arguably, could be on Philip Glue. He's just lagging back in 3rd place, ready to pick up the pieces should anything happen to the top two. There is Glue in 3rd place. In 4th place behind him is Jay Howard. The leaders go towards Coppice. Penultimate corner. They've got the straight, the chicane, and the run to the line. And Ben Clucas now with Philip Glue tucked up behind him. Indeed, needs to find a way through. Here they come. Glue getting a toe off Clucas. Clucas right up behind the race leader Darwin Smith. He goes to the outside line. They come now into the braking area. Ben Clucas brakes desperately late. Darwin Smith brakes late as well. They lock up. They both go off across the grass. They're going to be side by side. They nearly bang wheels there. Clucas leads, or does he? Darwin Smith fights back. It's a dead heat virtually as they come across the line. Look at that. They could hardly be closer, absolutely side by side as they came to the line there. Here, number 11, Antonio Perez fending off Godwin, then Matt Howson, then James Walker as they make the run to the line. The timekeepers, though, look at the results, and Darwin Smith is declared the winner by, wait for it, 6/1000th of a second. Confirmation of the results, and what a way to end the race. Darwin Smith and Ben Klukas virtually side by side, but just 6,000 separate them. Philip Glue comes through in third place ahead of Jay Howard in fourth. Fifth goes to Matt Allison, Julian Yap, sixth ahead of Perez, Godwin, Howson and Walker. But an absolutely tremendous race here at Donington. So Darwin Smith, the race winner, he can celebrate, and after that, have a word with us. Here's the winner. And how about this for close? The two race leaders side by side at the last corner, both braking too late, both going over the grass, almost interlocking wheels, and then crossing the line together, separated by only 6/1000th of a second. The three drivers there standing side by side, and it was as close as that on the track as well.